This is still 1.5, so if you want to continue your notes, the bell problem for today is negative 18 minus 5y greater than 52. Go ahead and solve it out and graph the solution. When you solve this, you should have gotten y less than negative 14. Notice how negative 5 had, or y had a negative 5 in front of it, so you have to switch the sign. And again, graphing, just to refresh real quick, draw your three lines, put negative 14 in the middle, put a number greater than 14 on the right, number less than on the left, put a circle or a dot or whatever you want to call it on negative 14. It can't be filled in because it's not equal to, and it's less than, since negative 15 is less than negative 14, we're going to shade to the left. And like I said, we're still on 1.5, solving inequalities. You should be able to, after today, solve and graph inequalities and write and solve compound inequalities. We already wrote this term down yesterday, compound inequality, but we are actually going to be solving these out today. The first one. Notice how we have the and or in between, that makes it the compound inequality. All this means is you have to solve each of them separately. So to solve the first one, we got to subtract 1 over, so we get 6 less than 2x. And to get x by itself, we need to divide by 2. And we'll have x greater than 3. Now, if you look, the x is on the right-hand side. My suggestion would be is to rewrite it so x is on the left-hand side. Notice how the caret is open up towards our x, so I rewrite it like that. And we have 3. Then you solve the second one. That one's easy. All I have to do is divide by 3, so we get x less than or equal to 6. Now, to graph when you have compound inequalities, we're going to have to add a couple more numbers. So we'll have our two solutions, 3 and 6. We need to put numbers on either side of them. Put a number in between them. And a number over here. Then do the same thing. Still put your points at your solution, so 3 and 6. Our solution for 3 cannot be filled in because it's not equal to. For 6 it can be, or it needs to be, because it has equal to. And then we look. It has to be greater than 3, so we're going to shade this way, because 4 is greater than 3, but it has to also be and less than 6. So we have to shade in the middle of our two solutions. So our shading will be between 3 and 6. You should notice throughout today, anytime you have and, you'll be shading in between your two solutions. And our second one, we still have the and. Make sure we solve it out. Come back and we'll talk about your solutions. For the first one, you should have got x greater than or equal to 2, and x less than 6. Again, draw your line. You gotta put 5 numbers this time. So we'll have 2, 3, 6, 7, and 0. Plot your points, 2 and 6. We can fill in 2, but not 6. And it's greater than 2, less than 6, so again it was and. We'll shade in between our two solutions. Now this next one, if you notice there's not an and or an or in between our two inequalities. That is because we need to write them as two separate ones. So to do this, you start on the left-hand side, include one of your inequalities, and stop at the second. So this will be our first one. 5 less than x plus 1. solve it out, all you gotta do is add 1 to the, or sorry, subtract 1 to the other side. And if you take your x to, so it's on the left, it'll be x greater than 4. Change my pen color here. Green, okay? Then we start from the right-hand side, include one of your inequalities, and stop at the other. So our second one will be x plus 1 less than 13. Again, this one's really simple to solve. You gotta subtract 1. So we have x less than 12. Again, don't forget to graph the solution. And also, since it is in between, this is like an and, so it should be shaded in between our two solutions. Next we have our or solution. So let's talk about these. You still solve them separately, so we have x greater than or equal to -1 and x less than -5. These are really simple. They're one step. All you have to do is subtract the number to the other side. Okay, then we're going to plot our points. So we draw that line. I have 5 points. This one will be -5. And we'll have -1, 0. Number in between them will be -3. And let's do -7. Keep them all the same. Okay, plot your points at your solution. So -5 and -1. -1 should be filled in. Okay, and this time if you notice we have or, not and. So that means it can be either or. And for and, they were shaded in between. For or, we'll shade on the outside, but just notice, x is greater than -1. Is 0 greater than -1? Yes, so we're going to shade this way. Then go to -5, it has to be less than. Is -7 less than -5? Yes. So we shade this way. And again, notice, or, we're going to shade on the outside, and we shade on the inside. So I'm going to write that in your notes somewhere. So go ahead and solve these out. For the first one, you should get x greater than 8/7. And the second one should be x less than -3. Don't forget to graph our solutions and make sure you're shading on the outside of our two solutions. And come to class prepared to work on this worksheet and some other projects.